was brought up by a very good family. My school, my upbringing was strict. My father's retired from the military. My mom worked throughout the government, and as well as my grandparents, they were great people, you know. So my upbringing was I'd say, I wouldn't say privileged, because we weren't just handed everything. However, we were taught to respect everyone. I was raised by my mother's sister from the age of 3 months, and her husband. Right, those are my mom and dad now. So my mom was my mother was a single mom, and at the time she was going through her own struggles. The family's really close, and to this day it's like family's really tight. As far as growing up, it's like, okay, I remember when mom and dad, they had a baby boy, and all of a sudden, all the focus goes to Gerard, the baby boy. He's my brother, but and then I'll start to do things to have attention. It's things of that nature. That's how addiction works. It works in cycles like that. It was early onset, you know what I'm saying? Because it's the addictive personalities and the addictive behaviors now, like manipulating, right? I started that at a young age, I started using it at a young age, and things of that nature. Alcohol was a real big thing in the beginning, and then it started to go into heavier drugs, and it got to the point where I lost my sense of self. It got to a point where later on there was no choice. You know what I'm saying? It's like the addiction started to take its cycle and start to progress. That's how it works, It starts from just, you still have a choice, to a progression where now you don't have a choice and you continue to use and use and use regardless of the consequence. I found a lot of comfort in stimulants and whatnot, just kind of, it became my drug of choice, So, and then from there it was just, the addiction took off. So that's when I lost my entire sense of self. You know what I mean? So the Jeremiah that I was, right before, when I still had a choice, to as for when my addiction has progressed into a full active addiction, it's two different people. I believe that when I went to jail, I didn't go to jail by myself. I took everyone to jail with me. My wife, my son, my whole family, they were in there with me. Had a lot of time to think about, what has happened, where I came from, why am I here, and things of that nature, because I eventually got clean in there for a little bit. You know what I mean? While I was in there, I was in a detox, and then I started to come to and realize what has been happening in the past 20 some odd years. That's definitely a turning point. I saw how it affected my family, my wife, and whatnot. And when I came out, that's when I realized I needed help. After a couple of violations here and there, I suddenly became ready, actually ready to come into treatment and come into recovery and whatnot. So it was kind of in that stage of contemplation, and now it's and then I had to prepare for treatment and recovery, understanding that it's going to be a lifelong process, and I got the rest of my life to do it. When I look back at the past and then where I'm at today, I believe that everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, right? And it's definitely got me to a place where I believe that if I didn't go through all that right now, there was no way I would understand it today. It's made me it's made me realize like who Jeremiah really is, you know what I mean, and understand why I've been through that, and things of that nature, and it's helping me to understand that I'm using this to help others now. For those watching, if you feel like your addiction is taking control of your life, if you feel like your life is spiraling out of control, you know that there are people out there that have experienced that and have gotten, you know, gotten through that and whatnot. That there is help. You know, there's agencies, there's organizations that are out there to help. The police are not out to get you. They're actually there to help if you let them. So there's definitely programs and an entire community that's dedicated to just helping people with through their addiction and their mental health and behavioral health challenges. And there's a lot of people that's come out on the other end.